All right, so the first step to making the this puzzle cube assembly is what we're going to do is we're going to make just a single piece, just one of these little blocks, and then we're going to use that block to make a bunch of bigger pieces. So in Inventor, step one here is I'm going to say File. There, well, I guess I can do it here too. New part. So we're just going to make one part file, and then the rest of these are all going to be assembly files. So first things first, I'm going to make a cube using the square tool or rectangle tool. 1 inch, tab 1 inch, enter, zoom out, and
I missed everything in the last thing. I don't know what it is.
we're just making a simple cube. So just a 1 by 1 inch cube as a part.
Can you wait a little bit because it's being really slow with that.
Yep. So we'll extrude this out and say OK. And that's all we want, just a little cube. 1 by 1 by 1. So all of them are, all dimensions are 1 inch. Oh, this one's a part file, yeah.
How much do you extrude it?
1 inch. 1 by 1 by 1. The ants came marching down to the ground. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to use this one cube, and it's going to be basically like just one of these little pieces, and we'll just kind of build them together like that. Technically, for an assembly, you could just make this as an individual part file by itself, but today we're just practicing using assembly constraints and stuff. So it's honestly going to be a tad bit on the tedious side because it's going to be a lot of like flush, flush, mate, flush, flush, mate, flush, flush, mate, huh? So it'll be a bit tedious, not going to lie. But it builds character, and studies have shown that self-esteem levels are increased dramatically, and as well as ACT scores because of assembly constraints. It's a direct proportional scientific analysis that was published in a journal that I'm thinking about creating sometime in the future. And, you know, to prove a study that hasn't been conducted yet.
Do you have an extra mouse? Somewhere.
I might. Let's see. There's a chance it doesn't work. Okay,
It makes so much better. It makes it
Same
so
thing?
much easier.
Okay. Hopefully one of these works. So, and if it doesn't work, just let's bring it back up and I'll get rid of it. So, ready to move on from here?
Yep.
All right, aye, aye, Captain. So, what we're going to do is we're going to file. We're going to say, actually, maybe just for fun, just for kicks and giggles. I haven't done this with the other classes, but let's try this. Highlight the whole thing. Let's give it just some tiny little chamfers. So let's highlight it all, and let's give it a, let's say, 0.1 chamfer. This will just kind of help it make, so we can tell like where the edges actually are when we put these pieces together. In fact, and you can kind of decide what you think is fun. So if you want to do bigger than 0.1, I might do 0.05, so it's a little bit, yeah, that's a little bit less dramatic. So this is just for kicks. Don't have to do it. I'm just going to do it because it looks like cool. And then you'll say save. Yeah, I did 0.05 on mine. So when you save this, what we're going to do is we're going to find our student drive, and this one's really important so that it doesn't get lost, or so you can access it on all computers. And I'm just going to use my teacher file right here, and you can see I've done this a lot. So I'm going to make a new folder in here. I'm going to say this gold little spark thing, the folder spark. Add new folder, and I'm going to say puzzle cube, and I'm going to call this 6 because this is the 6th time I've done it. So, and I'm going to double click on puzzle cube 6 or whatever, just this this file. And in here, I'm going to change the name to base cube, or whatever you can use to remember it. I like to call it the base cube because it's the base of all of the other parts. And you just click save. So again, what I did is I just went File, Save As, and in here I found my student drive. And in my student drive I created a new folder. And this one I just called Puzzle Cube 6. You can call it whatever you'd like, just something that makes it easy for you to find it. And then I saved it as base cube in that folder. And that was that. So, next thing we're going to do, we can go, there's two different ways to start a new file. So down here, I can click on the home button and say, let's make an assembly. That's probably the easiest, or well, I don't know, they're about the same. The other way is to go File, New, and then click Assembly. Either way will do the same thing. And now we're going to make a part. So let's start with an easy one. Let's do this blue one right here. So something that's kind of nice about this puzzle, if you're doing this same exact one, these two parts are exactly the same. And the nice thing about that is you can duplicate a part, and that'll be just great. So if you're doing your own puzzle cube, you're welcome to use your sketches and stuff that we did last time. If you need a second to pull those out, you can. Otherwise, you can just use these ones, and it's fine. So, not a problem. So, it's up to you. Whatever is most convenient. So, this one looks like a Z. So, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, or pieces. So up here in the assembly file, the new one I just created, I'm going to click Place. And I'm going to find the folder that I use. So in Student Drive, mine's in Puzzle Cube 6, Base Cube, and Open. And I'm going to go click 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are kind of funny. You can move them around a little bit, but when you're in an isometric view, it's really hard to tell where things are placed. So if I turn...
How do you get it into the folder so that you could place it?
say that again?
Once you open like the assembly, you press place in the top left corner.
That is correct, sir. So yes, so right here, where this place button is.
But why am I open to file?
File?
Like it looks like that.
So sometimes take a look up there for up here real quick. So sometimes it'll be on one of these where it's like place from one of these random things. You just hit the down drop and make sure it's just place. Yeah. And these ones, while we're on this subject, place from Content Center or imported stuff, sometimes these are really nice. A lot of CAD programs will have a library of just like standard parts, like, hey, I need a bolt that's like a 3/8 bolt. You can probably find them on these things. When there's a standard part like that, they're often just given, which is really, really nice. So anyway, open up your base cube, and for this specific part, I'm going to need 4 pieces. But you might need a different number depending on what you're doing. And then you just play the constrain game. So constrain, right here, you find the mate tool. Just go boom, boom. Stick these pieces together, apply, flush them up. And this is, like I said, where it gets tedious because every single connection needs 3 constraints. Ugh. So it takes a while. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3 constraints, or 3 links. And that means I'm going to need to do 12 clicks just for these 4 parts. So I'll just keep on my merry way. Apply. Oops, wrong one. Flush. Apply. Maybe I'll go flush on this side. Apply. Mate. Oh, I did the wrong one. Cancel. Apply. Flush, flush. Flush and flush. Apply. Great. And that is the first part. So you can kind of, this is why I put the chamfers in there, because then it's easy to tell, like, oh yeah, these are separate pieces. Not like super important, it just, I think it looks kind of cool. All right, and last but not least, we're gonna change the color. And what color? This one will be blue. And to do that, you just highlight the whole thing. You go up to Appearance, and you can type in blue, and it will kind of fast track you there. And there it is, the blue part. Dabba dee dabba die. I'm in need of something. I actually don't know what the lyrics are for that song, but blue dabba dee dabba die. So once you got this piece, you'll just say save. You're gonna drop it in here to the folder you created in your student drive. So mine's here, and I'm just gonna name it blue part. And I'll say save. So now you've got a folder or a file that's just this thing right here. And this is where I'm going to show you guys a little shortcut where we can be lazy and cheat a little bit, because honestly, really good Inventor or like CAD modelers are very good at finding the easiest way to do things. So that is like half the battle and half the mastery, is finding the best hacks to essentially cheat your way through stuff, so that you don't have to do as little work as possible. So this one, when I have two parts that are exactly the same like this, I can do a nice little hack, and I can go like this and say File, Save As. Oh, come on. File. That's not it. File, Save As, right here, and it's Save Copy As. So it's a pretty cool trick. I can save a copy of this file to duplicate what it is exactly. So I'll say save a copy as, and I'm just going to call it green part instead. Yeah.
How do you do that?
Okay, so I'll go File, Save, Save As. That's what I meant. Save As, and then Save Copy As. So when you save a copy, it's just going to make a duplicated copy of the same thing. You just change the name of it. And now, if I go to open something, so I say File, Open, and I find that same piece that I created. It's right here. So I called this the green part. For right now, it's the same thing. So if I open up green part, it's going to look the same as the blue part. No difference right now. But I can just go ahead and highlight it and change the color. A lot of the colors are under smooth something, like this one's smooth - dark forest green. So if you can't find a color just by typing like green, it might be under smooth and then the color. So kind of like that. So now I've got blue part, green part. I can save it.
How do you do a new part? I forgot.
Oh, and then this one we're not doing a new part. The only part file we have is the cube.
Or how do you do like a new assembly?
Okay, so good question. So new assembly, I can go up here and say File, New, and then Assembly.
Okay.
An alternate way to do that is you click this home button right here. It takes you back to the dashboard, and you can just say, hey, let's make a new assembly. And you click there. Either way works. Okay, so the next one I'm going to do is, let's do the orange monster, because this one has been a headache. So this one I think needs 6 pieces. So we'll place from Content Center, Base Cube, Open, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that is correct. All right, so I'm going to start placing this thing together. Constrain. Apply, flush, flush, apply, flush, flush, apply. Just building character by building parts. It's kind of like digging holes. That was a reference to holes.
What file type do you save it as?
An IAM.
Okay.
So that's an Inventor assembly file. Great question. And then from here, you'll probably be fairly independent at this point.
How many cubes? Because I wasn't able to see.
if you ever wonder about how many it takes, you just, this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So 6, 6, 4, 4, 7. And if for whatever reason you don't put the correct number of cubes in, if you put too many, you can always delete them. So you can always click on a cube after it's been placed and say, hey, I don't want you in here anymore. And you can delete it. So for example, right here, let's say I want to get rid of this guy, say delete. He's gone. So not too bad. And then if I want to bring that cube back, I can just say place, and I can always add in more pieces. Like so. So it's always possible to bring more back in. Bonk. Gotta love the woodblock noise. Alright, so for this one, before I go farther, I'm just going to make sure it's oriented right, so it's this like sideways T and then a little leg sticking off of it. Constrain. Oh yeah, I did 6. So 8. So boom, boom. Apply, flush, flush. Apply. And flush, flush, apply. Sweet. Alrighty. And then one more. So make right here. Apply, flush, flush. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Flush. There we go. Apply, flush, flush, apply. Okay. So it should look kind of like that. And by kind of, I mean exactly. Because if you don't, it's going to mess it up later, like I said for mine yesterday, where I literally took 4 tries in like 2 hours to figure out what was going wrong. Alright, so you can highlight this baby. I'm going to say orange, which rhymes with orange. There it is. I'll save that bad boy. I'll just call it orange part. And save. Cool. Alright, so that is 3 of the 5 parts. And if you're ahead, or you're just cruising, you can just keep going ahead, or if you just need to catch up a little bit, it's just the same process over and over again. But I'll kind of keep going to show you have my parts ready so that I can show you the master assembly. Alright, so the next one is going to be, I'm going to go with a yellow fellow right here. So looks like there's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's kind of a horseshoe with a little nub sticking out of the side. Shoe. Do that. File. New. Assembly. Place from content center. Or no, just place. Open. I'll go boom. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Alright. Then I start gluing them together. Shoe. I'm going to go flush. Oops, I should have done the mate tool first. Constrain this one and that one. Boom. Alright, we'll do some more mate tool right there. That one. And that one. Nice. Okay. This guy here. Beauty. All right. I'll mate tool this one and that one. Flush, flush. Flush, flush. Apply. Awesome. Okay, so it should look like that. And to make sure I got all my constraints correctly, I can click and drag this. Kind of wiggle it around and make sure everything's right. And that appears to be correct. I'll highlight the whole thing. I'm going to change this yellow fellow to yellow. Or stew the blue to the yellow fellow. And I'll save that bad boy as yellow part. Wonderful. Save. And then it's the last piece. And we call this one the Thanos block because it's purple. And it has 7 parts. So it's the biggest one. So file. Actually, I'll do the other way. New assembly. Right here. Place. Base cube. Open. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And just to make sure I've got this right. Okay. Alrighty. That's good. And another little tool that's kind of nice, wrong one. If you want to rotate something just a little bit, if I take a part like this, and I want this one to stand up vertical, I have to highlight both pieces, or using the green selection. And if I right click on them, I can use free rotate. So if I click that, I can rotate this around to have kind of a better orientation just to make it easier for me to assemble it. Free rotate is a blessing and a curse, however, because if I only click one part in an assembly, like if I just, something that's assembled, I just click this one, say free rotate, right here, and I move this around, it will only move that piece, even though there's a constraint in here. So this will, it can kind of mess it up a little bit. So you just have to be careful to click both of them when you do that. So constrain, mate. Oh, dang it, not that one. Flush. All right.
Like,
Cool. Constrain. Boom, boom. Awesome. Una mas on this side. Cool. And I've got 2 more on this side. I'm almost there. Halfway there. Whoa. Blizzard on a chair. Oops. And then if you ever get this where it says, hey, assembly cannot be solved, this means that somewhere I accidentally added too many constraints or they're conflicting. So if that ever happens, I can click on this and just kind of see like, okay, I've already got that degree of freedom. So I was trying to create one that's already existing. So I'll just check that off and fix it here. That's better. That should fix the problem. It did. Okay. So constrain, make tool, boom, boom. Apply, boom, boom, apply. Alrighty. So it'll look like that. Double check my part, make sure I've got that all situated correct. Oh, nope, that one's not done. There we go. That's what I want to see. And this is one issue with the free rotate that's kind of weird. Now my views have been kind of messed up. Anyways, so I'm going to change this to purple. And I think the closest thing here is violet. Violet. Turning violet. And I'll save it. I will call it purple people. Oh, that's nice. People eater. Or purple part. That works too. And then, last but not least, our final step, once we've got all our parts made, is we are going to create a master assembly. The master assembly is where we put all of these pieces together. And we have to play a lot of mental gymnastics. So I'm going to say, do assembly, place, and this time I'm going to highlight all of the parts that we've created, except for the puzzle cube. I mean the base cube, we don't need that one. And I will say open. If I zoom out, it's going to make this like Tetris looking kind of thing. So we've got this big jumble of parts. And now I can just start putting stuff together. So I like to pick one of these pieces. So I'm going to use this purple one. I'm going to make Thanos my anchor. So that'll be the one that I organize everything. Well, actually we'll make the blue one because my purple one's actually a little bit off. So I'm going to say this one instead, the blue. I'm going to face a way that is oriented the same. So I think that's correct. Make sure. Nope, it's the other way. Like that, I think. Wait a minute, what? I think that's the way. What? Okay, I'm really struggling. Oh, okay, that's probably the closest I'm going to get. So I'm going to fix this one in place by grounding it. So now all of the other parts will fit around this guy. Shoo. Now I just kind of got to play the constrained game again. So this one, I believe, is going to go right on top here. So Thanos, I'm going to click constrain, use the mate tool for this surface right here. Stick it on top right here. There we go. All right, that might be, oh, that is backwards. Cancel, wrong one.
Is it bad if I haven't saved them all individually?
What?
Like, I've just been doing them all in the same thing.
Oh, you'll want to do them in separate ones. You could do it all in the same thing. That's true. You could. It'll.
Then you don't have to see all the individual pieces.
Yeah, that way works too. There's some pros and cons, but it's almost the same thing. So if you've done it that way, you can keep doing that way, and I don't think that there'll be any problem. It should be fine.
Okay.
All right. You ready? So got this piece. I think I see what I did wrong here. So constrain. There we go. That was tricky, but I got it.
How did you get all of them in colors? Because I can't seem to figure it out.
To change the color?
I know how to change things, but I don't know how to put things together with the colors. But every time I do it, something got white.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
What?
All right, so I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna find the next piece. And
Every time I try to save it.
there we go. Okay, so there's this view. And I'm going to go ahead and say the green one is probably the next best option. Let's go constrain, flush, there, and here. Mate tool, the surface and the surface. No, that probably wasn't the best one to do. This is probably better. That one and that one. Nice. It's all coming together. Okay. So the next piece I probably want to do is going to be the orange, I think. And this one, I'm probably going to want to do some rotations in order to get this to fit. So I'm going to free rotate this piece so it makes a little bit more sense. And it should be standing like this, so the top piece right here will go right here, and this piece will go in the bottom corner. So constrain, flush, this and that, apply, flush this and that. Wow, that worked really well. And I probably still need another surface, because that's only two. This one and that one. That should be good. Okay. All right, and then last but not least is the yellow piece. Scooch this up a little closer. And I just gotta remember how this goes. So I gotta rotate it. Free rotate, oh, not move. Sure, free rotate is what I want. Rotate, rotate. Turn it a little bit, like that. Awesome. Constrain, flush, apply, flush, and then the last one on the bottom, flush. Boom. And if you've done it all correct, it'll look like this. It's pretty sweet. And by sweet, I mean like freaking awesome. And a cool thing, like I said, about if I save this now, I can save this as the master assembly. Like that. And save. And now I've got what looks pretty much like a Rubik's Cube. And I can adjust things in here too. If I go back to the base cube part, this is kind of cool. If I change the chamfer, like we made at the very beginning, let's say I made it 0.1 instead, so it's a little bit more dramatic, and click OK, it should update on every single part that we've created. So that gives us more of a chunky block look. Chunky. That's kind of cool. That's like my favorite thing, that you can update and edit an assembly even after it's been done. But if I go too extreme, if I were to like, come on, if I made this like way too much, like let's say 0.5, yes, it won't let me do that because it'll take too much space out of it. But I could probably do like 0.45. Ooh, I think this is gonna work. Let's see. What the? It worked. That's pretty cool. Very confusing. Can you imagine putting the assembly together like that? Yuck. So we'll go back to what it was before. Now it's good. So that's our wrap, folks. And if you don't quite finish this up today, you are more than welcome to wrap it up next time and get it submitted. When you submit the screenshot of this thing, the best thing to do is double click on this gray bar right here, and it'll show all of these things together. And I don't really mind about your base cube, but getting a picture of all of these is going to be important. So use your snipping tool, If you can't find that, you can just type it in the search bar, snip, like that. And new, and I'm just gonna go like this. I'll save this to like my desktop or something. I'll just call it puzzle cube assembly assignment. Something like that. I'll say save. And then you can submit that. So, not too shabby. It's pretty cool. This is actually a fairly simple assembly. In the future, we'll do assemblies with moving parts. That won't be for a couple months though, so fear not. It's not going to be too hard for the next few assemblies, but for this one, it's just stationary. And next time, I'm going to show you guys how to make it explode, which is going to be pretty cool. And like for real, we're going to animate it so it blows up. It'll be awesome.